Welcome back, everyone. We are live from SFMA 2022. I am joined by Abby McNeal. And Abby, I have to thank you right off the bat. You've been an advocate of this series since day one. You were one of my first guests when this was taking place in the baby's nursery.
Yes, I remember
and now
that.
we're here. And so, you've right from the beginning, you've been a support system for this. And so I have to thank you to start.
Well, it's my pleasure, and I really appreciate you doing it. I mean, all of the podcasts have been phenomenal, and it's just highlighting all the great things we're doing in the industry. So thank you for having me here today as well as earlier.
Of course. And, it's an easy industry to highlight. And we saw that a little bit yesterday. We're going to talk about your opening general session that you were joined with Dr. Sorokin and Andrew Miller of Brentsville Turf. And you guys were talking about, it's an issue. It's not something to avoid talking about, but the labor shortage in the industry and strategic solutions to kind of get staff into the industry. So you brought up a lot of them, but let's just start with how you guys were strategic in 2021 with the Denver Parks and Rec, and really making sure that you talked a lot about retention, some of those strategies behind that.
The biggest thing I can do is I can give a shout out to our supervisor and our full-time staff that go after people of all ages and diversities that want to give to our athletic program. I mean, they really drive it. We've worked over years to create a really good job announcement and recruitment part of it with our HR department to really get it out into the communities at all different levels, to really try to bring those community people, can't call them all kids because they're not all young, that want to give back. We talk about all the things that we can do and the difference we can make, and just really highlight what our program is about. And our retention is at least 60%. It's one of the best retentions throughout all of the park system in Denver, is that we really get people to come back. Why? None of us can pinpoint it. I actually talked to my supervisor who's here afterwards, and we can't pinpoint why they keep coming back. So we're doing something right. And if I can answer that, I'll follow up with you afterwards when I get back. But we use them to train the new hires, and we continue to reiterate best practices with them and then have them train. I mean, we're sending these people out unsupervised across the city with a truck and a trailer typically, and here's these many fields you have to take care of. And after a few weeks of them doing it, we try to pair up the returnees with the new ones and stuff. We find the right mix for the two of them. They instantly start taking pride in all of it. They start doing those extra little things when they're out there. Now the ownership comes. And that's what helps, is whether they live on that side of town or not, they're owning every time they go back and visit that ball field or wherever we're working. So I think it stirs itself. So.
And I met with Michael Serenine, and I feel like I always butcher his name, so hopefully I got it right that time. But something that really stood out to me in his, in just his reflection of the job was that empowerment element. That from day one, you guys are empowering your crew to take ownership, take pride in the gig. And I mean, just from an outsider's perspective, I'm sure that plays into the retention. And then also something you said about that community give back, making that, branding that into the gig, I think is really important. That, nothing about sports turf is an easy 9 to 5. It's not a clock in, clock out operation. And so branding it really that this is your opportunity to be seen in your community in a unique way. And I think that, just as an outsider, like I said, that's maybe where some of the retention is coming from, because I'm not in sports turf, and I would love to work for you. So
you can come out anytime you want to take a vacation. I'll put the baby over there, and we'll put you out doing stuff. And I appreciate that. I mean, we really want them to take ownership. It's exactly right. And Mike does a great job. And if something's not going right, we stop it right in its tracks. I mean, we might reposition somebody. I mean, we have crews that do the day-to-day line and drags for our infields. We have crews that go out and paint athletic fields. And we try to find a balance of where does this person really belong? Where are their strengths? Can they measure out a field and string it and line it to the standards that we want, or are they better off on a ball field and spinning the infield? And if it's really not working, then we just kind of have a come to moment and just move on and go find the next person. And you don't want that. I'm very fortunate when I got with the city that we were pushing the hiring range from a hourly rate that I can offer. And so we we push it. I
Yeah.
want the best that I can get for the dollar value I can get. I try to meet with the teams as they come in. I mentioned that yesterday because I want them to know I'm behind them. And if something's not right, my door's open, come find me. But I also go out in the field and try to thank them. I may not remember all their names because we could have like 3 Tylers
Yep.
or 3 Nathans or 2. But I know who they are, and I try to make sure that they see that I value what they do every day and make that connection. I'm just not the boss somewhere in a corner and not seen. I want to be seen with them, and I want to talk about it. If we have an issue, I'm in there talking to them. I'm talking to all of them. So you're talking about some of the work-life balance. We actually go after hiring like a Tuesday through Saturday shift and a Sunday through Thursday shift.
Okay.
Which is a little off. We do hire a few Monday through Friday, but we have both. We play 7 days a week.
Yeah.
So we go after those 2 non-traditional schedules.
Yeah.
Just so that everybody can do it, and we sell it. You could have a day of the week and a weekend day off, but you're not going to get all of it together. So it is different, but they recruit each other.
Yep. And you mentioned that a lot in the session, that a referral program of sorts. Like, hey, if you like this job, why not bring a friend along and get to ride alongside them and do the job? I think that's such a, that's something that a lot of places would even like hinder on. Like, oh, I don't want you and all your, your friends in here. But to really take advantage of that and be like, hey, bring a friend along. What could be better for someone coming out of high school or in college and want to spend the summer with their friends and make money for it?
Yeah, we've had a one gentleman that comes to mind. I think he's on year 6 with us, but he took a break and went to college on the opposite side of the state. College really wasn't working for him, or something brought him back into town. Come to find out, he actually was finishing his college degree online, but working with us. Awesome. He came back and instantly took over, and it just the dynamics of having somebody return after a break and just him continuing to see the progress we were making in all of our fields was good. We try to expose them to the line painting, the day-to-day line and drags, as well as our renovation team. We do a lot of in-house renovations, so we try to really show all of the impact that we're making. And like I preach to my full-time staff as well as to the seasonal staff, is we're going to make a difference in communities. We're renovating fields that haven't been renovated other than maybe some general maintenance since the day they were built. And they need the love. And my staff always comes back, I was out there laser grading this or tilling this up, and the community people came over and said thank you.
Yeah.
And so that they're just seeing it. We're being out in front of the citizens that provide our budget. So that's good. And all the kudos go to that team. Go to Mike and all of his staff and the seasonals. As a whole in parks, I don't know that every other maintenance district in Denver is marketing it that way. You want to try to find the people that are in the community to give back, but you can't limit it there.
100%. And a lot of your data points come from those community members. So especially when they're coming out from day one and seeing where it's starting at, and when you guys come back a year later and ask them, hey, how was this experience, for it to have that longevity, that life cycle, I'm sure is really important. And you and I have talked about those data points a lot in the past, and really using them to support your bottom line. Yep. If somebody's pushing back on why you need this piece of equipment or an extra crew member, go to those end user groups, as you've said, and say, this is why we need it. These people in the community want that. Does that play into like finding staff in any way? Like, as far as how do you utilize the community to, recruit or find staff in that element?
I guess the only thing that I've done that's close to that, because I probably haven't thought of it that way, so you just gave me an idea, so Thank you for saying it that way, is we use our rec centers too.
Yeah.
We post our job in rec centers to try to engage the youth that are in there, or a retiree, and try to get them involved, just say that this is available. I don't know that we do it enough, but we try to push through that. We put it out on every market that we possibly can. I never thought I would look for a job on Craigslist, but our HR department puts it on Craigslist. I mean, to me, that's where you buy a used sofa or something, a bicycle.
Got to get creative out there.
Yeah, and I think it works. Again, we dialed in what the job description is and really try to go find the person that can best fit it.
And I mean, that's just a square one approach. Just going in and writing a coherent, concise job description that really is going to resonate with somebody that is looking for a place where they could belong on a team. You mentioned that you post it at the rec centers. You're really getting it in front of the community. the referral program, and you also kind of talked about dipping into some interesting pools of, you know, what maybe people wouldn't think about as far as, eligible employees. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, it got brought up, and I believe it was Tyler that brought it up, and they
Mm-hmm.
were using, I guess, re-entering into the community.
Yep.
A few years ago, we did it in our parks maintenance staff. It wasn't on my team, but I was a part of some of those re-entry
Mm-hmm.
folks that came in, and it's giving them another chance.
Mm-hmm.
It's helping them get their life restarted. I got some great people out of it, and I managed through some challenging people through
Of
it.
course.
But if we can help bridge that connection throughout our parks maintenance, it is. I mean, we try to limit how many we take on because you just don't know what you're going to get. I mean, I had a gentleman who had to find a ride every day to work, and we weren't on public transportation. It's like, well, maybe this isn't the right fit. So where do you live? Maybe we can shift you over to another maintenance group in parks. And then it's just staying the course and kind of getting a feel for it and really training them up how they can make that impact that they want. So that's one of them that we've used. I mean, I post any job I get, I post on every industry thing regionally, just to get it out there. You never know how you're going to be found.
Mm-hmm. So where do looking to the future, with all of this in mind, ways to recruit people, way to get people involved, what has you feeling the most hopeful about our industry? After spending a few days here at the SFMA.
Yeah, I'm getting the F in. Dropping the T and getting the F.
Yep. So what really has you hopeful just over the last couple of days?
It's great to be back in person.
Mm-hmm.
I think the energy that we're all going to walk away with, even though we'll be tired, is what we needed as a group.
Yep.
We've been through a lot. I know in parks, we were the outlet, just like golf was. When Dr. Sorokin talked about golf, just ran away with it because people could get that when COVID hit. Parks were the same. Our trail use and our park count went up because people could be outside. They could have some space. They could enjoy just a breath of fresh air. And when we finally started having youth programming, that drove it up too. Mm-hmm. So I think just the re-energizing that we all are facing some of the same problems of staffing shortage. We all shared ideas. We keep sharing ideas. And I think really this is going to re-energize all our industry and our members, as well as their teams, to just kind of, keep going out and fighting the fight. You got through this part. We're all in it together, and we have each other again. I think that's just rejuvenating. And to me, the energy's here. But I'm happy to be here in person. So
me too. And the last thing I wanted to touch on, we talked a little bit about it before the camera started rolling, was really branding the crew around each field. That could possibly be another way to really get eyes on what you're doing in the community. Dr. Sorokin brought it up during the general session. Talk a little bit about that and what the idea behind something like that could be.
I think it's a great idea. Mm-hmm. He was talking about coming up with like a QR reader where you could just have a landing page, and I don't know the technology. I grow grass. I manage people.
All the terminology was there, so
but I got the terminology and I kind of got the concept, but how it all connects, out there. But what it is that you could do a snapshot, and then it would give you kind of the boots on the ground. It'd give the story of the people behind the scenes. I try to teach us, we are elfin magic.
Yeah.
And when I say that to some of these guys, they're like, huh? I was like, well, you have to remember that's the Keebler in me. I mean, that was Keebler, commercials, Elfin Magic. And I've always believed that sports turf managers do that. We pull off a lot when nobody sees us. And I think that's our comfort zone. Mm-hmm. So when my staff gets pulled aside, they're embracing that extra compliment in front of the users.
Yeah.
And those are they're more the older generation in the community because they're home or they're retired or there's a reason they're staying home or they have their grandkid. But to see something finally happening at their front door, I had one gentleman that got stopped every day he went out there, and he embraced it the best he could.
Yep.
But this lady continued to give him compliments. I mean, that's a win. And I was like, share that with these people. When we hire people, use that as a pitch. When we get them in the door, tell them you're going to get those compliments.
Yeah.
And it's that balance. That's better than a pat on the back for me because I can only hire you at my rate.
Yep.
I'm not going to be able to give you bonuses after that. So.
Well, and I think that sometimes people are weary of putting a face on the product because they think that, maybe it's setting me up to be a liability in some sense. But from my experience in talking with, leaders and people in the industry, it's really about getting that, that pat on the back more so than it's not giving somebody to yell at.
Yeah.
And so it's like we got to put ourselves out there and really try and get that feedback
From the mic. And I agree with that, in that we have to use caution when we do it, but we
Yeah.
have to find a way to promote it in the best way so it doesn't turn negative.
Yeah.
Really getting involved with our youth programming and our adult programming. They send out surveys after every program's done. We've gotten questions every year. We add a couple more questions on field conditions and what improvements they might like to see, and the negative comments have gone way down.
Yeah.
Because we're doing it right. And so I use that as validation to the team. But I also look like, all right, explain to me why they said it on this field.
Yeah.
Oh, yep, because we missed it. Okay, well, we go fix it.
Yeah.
But I think we could do more of that in the community. And it's an idea I will take back to say, hey, could we do some self-promotion? But it's going to be the right park and the right time.
Yep.
I'll just have to see how it works.
Well, thank you so much for doing this.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Apologize for the feedback a couple times, but always so eloquent and always a pleasure to be joined by you.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm happy to help the industry. I'm doing what works in the moment, but it takes a team, and the team are all the people here, and we just have to keep supporting each other. So anything I can do to help this program and you guys get the message out there, I'm all for.
Awesome.
It's taking sports field managers everywhere, so thank you.
Yep.